My Lady Jane, a new fantasy based on YA novels of the same name, imagines a world where the real-life Queen Lady Jane Grey lasted more than just 9 days on the throne. In this alternate reality, created by authors Brody Ashton, Cynthia Hand, and Jody Meadows, there are also people who can change into animals, known as Ethians. Just your standard period drama. But what's especially interesting about this is how society others the Ethians, pushing them out to the periphery because regular folk deem them to be abnormal. As metaphors for marginalized groups go, it's a very potent and flexible one that can fit a whole range of different experiences. The idea that Lady Jane Grey and Guildford Dudley were too late for their sentiments has been embraced by the show, and in Episode 8, it does feel that way, at least for a short moment. The movie God Saves the Queen depicts Queen Mary as a ferocious and overindulgent party animal. Jane was given a terrible offer when she was imprisoned in the Tower of London. She would be released if she would forsake Ethiopianism and admit that her husband Guildford had deceived her. Naturally, Jane was never going to do that because her only concern was preserving her husband. In the meantime, Guildford was imprisoned in an Ethian-covered facility, mocked by Lord Seymour, and his demise was all but certain. Even his father and brother make a futile attempt to save him. However, when My Lady Jane came to an end, Queen Mary found it difficult to put Jane and Guildford to death. Jane has 9 lives in this alternate history. On the night of the execution, Mary made the bold decision to have Lady Jane Grey's head chopped off and Guildford Dudley burned to death. Jane feels guilty for not confessing her love to Guildford as they are carried in front of the assembly. However, just as the executioner is ready to put Jane to death, a bird hits him, and suddenly a swarm of birds flies down onto the assembly. Jane's former maid Susan is leading the charge. It appears that King Edward's request for Lady Jane Grey to be saved by the Ethians in order for him to reclaim the throne was successful. As a result, King Edward will be expected to grant the Ethians independence. As the Ethians battle the royal guards in a chaotic scene, Jane rushes to save Guildford, who is about to go up in flames. She tries to cut the rope, but fails. It is at this point when Jane and Guildford formally declare their love for one another. It is a time of true love when Jane is prepared to accept her fate and die with him by burning to death. But Guildford transforms into his Ethian horse and rushes out with Jane riding him in an attempt to save them both. What does this signify for the couple in love? Who knows? It is now anticipated that Queen Mary will attempt to hold onto her position of authority, having been devastated that her plans to have them executed had failed. But be prepared for King Edward to arrive. It's possible that Guildford and Jane will go into exile and enjoy their growing marriage for a while before being persuaded to come back to the kingdom by something or someone. In any case, Season 1 ended on an exciting note with Episode 8, despite the fact that the production and storytelling quality of the show were lacking.